Interesting. What is going on, guys? Welcome to Stef ABtv. In today's video, we're here with this, the BMW M2 CS. Now, I've already driven this car, however, I drove it on track. And well, you know what happened when I drove it on track.
And as you can see, the Cup 2's in the wet.
I can confirm that this is a very fun car to slide. However, this video isn't about track driving. This video is a road review, and also we're really going to test and find out, is this car, the M2 CS, worth £25,000 more than the standard competition? Because I'm not so sure. Anyway, let's jump in the car, let's get going, let's go for a drive.
So guys, in order to really answer the question as to whether or not the BMW M2 CS is worth a whopping £24,000 more than the BMW M2 Comp, it's worth noting that the M2 CS itself is kind of BMW's last hurrah to this platform, because with the new platform due to come next year, or this year even, BMW are going to be stopping production of this platform in September. So get your orders in, whether it's for a Comp or for a CS. So what is it that's really different, fundamentally different between this, the M2 CS and the M2 Competition? Well, let's start with kind of exterior. We'll start with that element first, because visually you'll be able to notice a few things. So of course, you get the front carbon fiber CS splitter. You get a carbon fiber bonnet with vent intake. We get carbon mirrors. We get a carbon roof lid, roof spoiler. We get a carbon roof. We also get a carbon rear diffuser. We get plenty of carbon, and the carbon doesn't stop there, because as you get into the inside of the car, we also get a carbon tunnel here as well to kind of reduce weight. We get carbon door handles. I think that maxes out the carbon element anyway. Then we get a nice kind of Alcantara trim here in the center, which does look really, really nice. And we've also got a couple of changes here on the M Performance seats, which got Alcantara mixed with the red stitching. Now, take the visuals aside, they're there for a reason. Now, BMW say that the M4 will produce, the M2 CS will produce more downforce at higher speeds than the M2 Competition. So much so that you can really pin this thing and maximize the downforce. At the moment, I have got Cup 2s on. Cup 2s don't like the rain. In fact, the Cup 2s really do need to get some temperature in. But that's one of the things that comes with the CS. You get Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s. You also get the 19-inch forged alloy wheels, the beautiful M Performance wheels, which I think look incredible, and for me are a must-have on M2 comps. Pay the money and get these wheels, because they look sensational. The big one is the carbon ceramic brakes. They are huge, very distinctible with the gold calipers. However, is that enough to really make you think, well, yeah, okay, that's 24 grand more than the M2 Comp? There's a few extra things here and there which have changed as well, and it's mainly around suspension. This car is a blast to drive though, guys, I'm not gonna lie, I won't beat around the bush. So in terms of suspension, you got the kind of McPherson front suspension. There's BMW have adjusted the camber as well slightly on the CS as well to give it that extra focus when out on track. The addition to the adaptive suspension on the CS as well is actually very welcome. I'm in Sport Plus suspension mode now. If I switch this up back into comfort, it does make a difference, and it does absorb the bumps a hell of a lot more. Because one of the things that I do notice with the CS is it does feel quite bumpy in sport mode. It is quite, well, it's not back braking, I must say, it's not back braking at all. But you can really see its kind of track focus pedigree, and that's the key here, isn't it? Because the extra £24,000 that you're paying over a Comp, does it make it a better road car? I don't necessarily think so, if I'm being honest with you. Yes, the S55 3-litre engine is up from 400 horsepower to 440, or 444 to be exact, which is an increase of 40 bhp. That also shaves the 0 to 62 time from 4.2 to 4 seconds flat. Really, I'm not going to notice that on the road. The M2 Competition is a car that I've driven and I absolutely loved. It's a brilliant, brilliant car, and I've got nothing but good things to say about it. I've also got nothing but good things to say about the M2 CS, other than its hefty price tag. The M2 CS revs out at just over 7,500 RPM. The M55 engine sounds great. You get the enhanced cabin noise, which is pumped in through to the car, because of course we've got the huge exhaust out the back, which is extremely restrictive. So sound is kind of having to be pumped through this car. Does the M2 CS handle well? Of course it flipping does. It handles really well. It feels very, very well balanced, very compliant. Yes, it's a bit twitchy around the corners if you're, powering full throttle until you get some solid heat into the Cup 2s. But it does handle extremely well, but then so did the M2 Competition. The big one for me still sticks with the price, because I love this car. I love the M2 CS. It's a phenomenal platform. I love the fact that you can get it in manual form as well. We're currently driving the DCT box, which for me is great. It's a 7-speed DCT versus the 6-speed manual. But with a price tag from 75 grand or 74 and a bit grand to start from, you could get yourself a Porsche Cayman GT4 for that kind of money. Or starting from a 718 Cayman GT4, start from around 75 grand. Once you spec them up, a lot more, but you get the point. And in terms of a kind of real driver's car, I think the the GT4 still tops it for me. Personally, I love this car, I really do, but I would just be quite happy with the comp. I think I would buy a Competition, I would spend the money doing a couple of tweaks to the Competition, and then whatever's left, I'd buy another car. But then if you look at the GT4 itself, the GT4 is completely and purely a track-focused weapon. What the M2 CS allows you to do, not only does it give me brilliant handling, but it also allows me to use this car day to day. It's got rear seats, it's got a decent sized boot. I've got no complaints about that. I've got a really nice nav and infotainment system. We're talking about track. This is where I think this car will excel. Now, as mentioned earlier on in the video, you guys know that I drove this thing out on a very small track with BMW UK. Oh, look at that front end. Wow. Really pin it, really pin it. Oh, wow, yeah, that's where it comes into its own, this car, the handling. And that's where I say, on a track, this car will be absolutely bonkers, because something like the Nürburgring or a proper track where you really want to make the most of this car, that's where I think you will notice the £25,000 difference. That's where all of these little elements, which kind of, when you piece them together, create that CS platform, they create that CS enhanced M2, that's where you're going to see it. On the road, I don't think you will. Steering feel is really nice. It's a very point and shoot. As I said earlier on, you saw when I took that hairpin, the front end is absolutely bonkers on this car. It really does instill confidence, and actually, it does put a hell of a lot of that power down. It does a great job, and that's what you'd expect from Cup 2s once you get them up to temperature. Other things I really like about this car is just the creature comforts and the things like the M mode button. It's no different to what you get on the M2 Comp, but I like the fact that you can set, your M preferences on the M1 and M2 buttons, which allow you to have different driving styles. So, if you just want to drive this daily to the shops, put it all in efficiency and comfort, and you get a very different car to what I'm driving right now, with pretty much everything set at 110%. But the M2 platform as itself, for me, has always been a platform that I've loved. I love the fact that it's BMW Division's smallest M car. A smaller, short wheelbase platform is what I remember from those good old days in the older M3s, where you can really throw them around, you can really unleash the power, and you can really have a lot of fun, and it does bring a hell of a lot of smiles to my face when I'm driving it. I absolutely love this thing. Absolutely love this thing. What a car. What a car. But to go back to the initial question, is this car worth more, well, worth £24,000 more than an M2 Competition? If you're only going to drive this thing on the road, I would say it's not. I would say if you're only driving this for the road, unless you really want that prestige element, you want to be the one that stands out, you want to hold on to a car for its residual values because these are going to hold out well, then that's your option as to why you would buy one of these if you're not tracking it. However, if you are tracking this thing, that's where this thing's going to come into its own. Take one of these to the Nürburgring and I guarantee you will notice the difference. But if you're just driving on the road, I would still go for an M2 Comp and save the money. But anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video on the BMW M2 CS. It's great to get it out on the road and see what it's like. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a thumbs up. Comments are always welcome, and I'll see you all very soon on the next video. See you later guys.